Hello.
Well, it's going. So today we're going to talk about basically prehistoric war and violence or whatever, and then also deities of war and violence.
Okay.
Because violence obviously happens before deities jump into the game, in a sense.
Right. Makes
So,
sense.
yeah. So, but of course, as you know, the deities getting to the war thing, I also think relates to people starting to control religion for their own aim, in a
Mm,
sense. And then of course, to me, by the time the kings happen, then they're absolutely doing that. They're literally
right.
dictating, aspects of the religion, just like people do know that happened in a real way, because we know that Akhenaten tried to make the Aten or whatever the only monotheistic, in a sense, deity, and try
Right.
to change the entire religion. Not like an aspect of it, but like the entire religion to imagine itself. But that's what I think is accurate at a certain point. But war, in other words, like, to me, it's not that religion bred war; it's that war bred religion to justify war.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, like they were already doing the thing and then
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the gods are on our side."
yeah. Great excuse, right? Yeah. So that I was just making a point, because some people could get confused, like what happened first, or what inspired what.
Right.
That's what I would say. So
Yeah, like I've heard it said, I don't know how accurate it is, but like I've heard it said that a lot of like old like fighting uh even in current ish history is usually
right,
over resources, right? Rather and they'll people will use religion as the justification, but it's usually over some other resource or some
right, or
land or
land, or
whatever.
yeah, which is a resource in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I do before we get into this is I want to address how people give um, their own interpretation, in a sense, of history.
Okay.
So, of course, I try to do it, in a sense, from an anarchist perspective, which is not to totally have a perspective on the thing, but try to be accurate and then expose the injustices, I feel,
Right.
or highlight them. In a sense, I don't try to make something it's not, or
Right.
whatever. That's why
The
I try to be
injustices are
fair.
there. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, and that's why I want anarchists to know in general. We don't, unlike some people that have to have propaganda that's full of lies. We don't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
History literally says this is a better way to doing things. Anyway,
Yep.
or prehistory, I should say. But my point is, though, how we give this presentation. Like, in other words, I'll bring up something I'm sure everyone kind of relate to. Like when they have May Day, or they have Workers' Day or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to co-opt it for their own thing. Republicans try to put it as something that had to eventually just happen, because they're not going to support workers' movements,
Right.
but they
Yeah.
want to buy into that America allows people to get risen up, the American dream, which is a
Right.
fucking lie. That's the point. It's a
Yeah.
dream because it's not real.
Yeah, that's right.
I get why Republicans, since they're trying to funnel the money to the top, they certainly don't want the people at the bottom to do revolution, or to start thinking for themselves, or I don't know, demanding the rich fucking help out at least. Anyway, but so I feel like that's important to how you do history. So there's a person who does YouTube, and it's called Survive the Jive, and I've watched many of them. Most time, the guy seems like he's a historian and knows
Okay.
mythology, because I care about understanding mythology.
Yep.
He's a pagan, but he presents or it seems like, I should say, because I don't 100% check everything he does, but it seems like he presents it in a relatively fair way,
Okay.
right? So when I heard him talking on a British show, just spewing fucking nonsense, I said to him, because I usually don't call people out, but
Right.
sometimes, especially if I respected you and you do something that was just blatantly fucked. I feel like, especially since, once again, since I talk about mythology and I talk about history and political stuff, this person normally doesn't do political stuff, stuck his stuff in the political stuff, and sounds like a right-wing fucking whack job.
Yeah, that
what
sucks.
the fuck?
Yeah. That
Anyway,
sucks.
so I challenged him, and then he tried to come back and soften, he thinks, the thing, and then I explained to him what he was really doing, and he didn't come back. I ended up blocking a couple of his people, of course, that want to be under his thinking, or like, oh no, I'm the one that's wrong and whatever. So I want to address that. I sent you the link just to show people. I want you to show people what we're talking about. Yeah, because this is real important. I'm not trying to, I don't usually try to burn people, but this guy's a supposed historian. This is some horseshit. Just play like a little bit at the beginning so we don't misinterpret what he actually says. Because he thinks I'm misinterpreting him. And I'm like, no. Oh, no. I'm an anarchist. I understand exactly what you just said.
This is...
And like I said, I normally, when it comes to history and mythology, sort of thought this guy was a decent person. And then I hear this stuff comes out of his mouth there. I'm like, what the hell? So go ahead.
Okay.
Multicultural project, which has been underway since at least the new Labour government, and the rebuilding of British identity. And I guess the authentic history of our people is collateral damage in the march towards this utopian vision of the future for Britain.
One British thought leaders, Tom Rousell, talks about the importance of our history and battling activist attempts to rewrite it.
There have been many empires in history. Probably none of them were as benevolent as the British Empire. It's one of the least cruel empires.
The least cruel.
He just is ignoring like the genocide of indigenous peoples.
Oh my God, you have got to be kidding me. The world is still fucked today. One of his people said, I need to thank the British Empire every day. Do you realize the world is still in this capitalist fucking nonsense because of your colonial bullshit?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. You guys are offensive. I was like, wow, that gagged me with a fucking fork, man. When I heard
that's
that.
wild.
Go ahead and read what I said or whatever. That thing I wrote under that. This is me commenting to him.
Okay, so historian and Survive the Jive host Tom Roswell talks to Lee about the importance of celebrating and preserving our history. Tom, the British Empire was the most benevolent of all empires. My response: gross hearing Tom say the British Empire was benevolent. Many historians argue against the notion that the British Empire was uniquely benevolent, highlighting that all empires by their nature are exploitative. Tom says, if you listen carefully to what I said was that it was more benevolent than other empires. Which, my response: I understand what you intended to make the horrible sound better by manipulative framing, like saying beating someone is better than killing them, when even beating someone is already wrongdoing. I enjoy your shows on mythology, but this was propaganda. I thought better of you. The British Empire committed numerous documented atrocities, war crimes, and acts of colonial exploitation throughout its history, from its early involvement to the transatlantic slave trade to its final years of decolonization.
Right. And nationalism, dog shit, trying to make terrible history sound better so bigots can feel better. That's my view of what that shit is.
Yeah.
That's why it was gross to me, because I'm hearing just, if he wants to say the British people have, technology or even prehistory stuff, where they battled the Romans, cool.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Sure.
The British Empire, what the fuck?
No. Yeah. I'm sure that many people in India would disagree with the benevolence of the so-called British Empire. I'm sure many people in North America would disagree with the benevolence of the British Empire. And Africa, there's countries in Africa that would have a bone to pick with that idea. It's just.
But I really, like I said, what really bothered me the most, and that's why I feel like I tell you, if people think that my stuff doesn't matter, it does, because I address the shit that you can look at these fuckers and know they're wrong. because you start to understand. Because like I told you, I don't try to just treat history as here's a bunch of facts. I try to give it, which I know you already know this, but I try to give it an anarchist and a socialist framing of how we see and we understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, I think it's gross because he likes England or something, you know?
Right.
Give a fuck. What? You know, I think it's gross people like say they like Romans. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, like in a sense, I don't care that he likes England, right? Like
exactly. Just like I don't care he's a pagan. Who gives a fuck?
Who cares?
If he tells me the truth about mythology or something that seems that way, then it's worthwhile. But when he says something that's literally, especially when his supposed, I'm going to correct the activists that try to say British Empire was bad. Actually, the truth is the British Empire was wonderful and fucking stank by roses out their ass. I mean, you're like, dude, you just left history. What the fuck?
Yeah, you can tell, like you say, as soon as he says, I'm going to correct, like activists are rewriting our history. Like, okay, no, that's not actually what's happening. Activists and people are starting to acknowledge the true history of what went on.
Right. Damien is fucking up his beautiful empire with saying, actually, dude, all empires, dog shit. States, garbage.
Yeah.
This is just horseshit. Just imagine how many of us are okay with people losing human rights. I mean, just think, even they've done things for, as Trump starts to take more away from, even when people that they think are, you know, here illegally, right?
Right.
Even Republicans are starting to go, yeah, but they deserve some human rights. Because that's the truth. It's not activists going, well, human rights matter.
Right.
You know, no, it's I just like,
human rights matter, and we're just happen to be the ones that noticed it first, I guess.
Right. Well, I feel like it is an anarchist thing to notice that, because we, just like some people have the flawed belief of, in a sense, clan or family or whatever. We're always an individual. I understand this as an anarchist. That doesn't mean I should support individualism.
Right. As an as an ideology, right? Yeah.
Well, because to me so they mistake a individual fact from the larger reality.
Right.
There is always a tree in the forest.
Yes.
But it's wrong to think that we don't also see the fucking forest.
Exactly.
So I you know what I'm saying? It's that's why I laugh when they say we're not looking at reality. Actually, what he just did is not looking at reality.
Yeah.
Not the hell what we're saying when we're telling people. And I don't, like I said, I don't feel it's like a colored lens when I'm talking about how I see things in an anarchist way. It's that I have a sensitivity that people are dignity beings. They own themselves. They have a right to happiness and freedom. Nobody should starve in a society that even wants to think it's partially good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just like I told you before, when people try to say, oh, well, this or that's not a human right. And I think, see, is in the middle of winter in Canada, is clothes a human right? Fuck yes, it is. You'll fucking die. Won't you?
That's right.
I mean, I'm just making it. It's what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's very strange the way that people just ignore, like, whatever they decide isn't a human right at the moment, and it just, like, that's not how it works.
No, just like someone said, you know, is sex a need or a desire? And I said, for many people, it is a need.
Yes,
because it fulfills psychological and well-being things. If it wouldn't, why would anyone want to get married? Not about kids, but even to have sex or to engage in with partners. It's not just the emotional love. We can love. Like, I feel love towards you, Corey. You've been kind to me. I'm sure you probably feel that from me because I've tried to do that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean I want to have sex with you.
Right. Because that's,
you get what I'm trying to say.
That's a different need. Yeah.
So,
that's a different need.
It's like, I feel like it's the same thing with individualism. They're like, oh, well, the individual's the only thing real. And I'm like, yes. And we live in a world with a whole bunch of other individuals. Those are both real. They're both real, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. That's all. Yeah, they are both real.
You're not like this solipsistic, like, I'm the only being that exists.
Right, but that's how I feel like they frame it, so then it's okay to then be selfish.
Right.
Which I know it's not okay to be selfish, because we aren't the only being.
Yeah.
And it is that logical awareness that other people are suffering that we go, okay, there's no such thing as benevolent and empire. Those two fucking words being together is propaganda. Period.
Yeah, that's right.
Done. Anyways, so I just heard that. I heard another person too. I ended up blocking him. And I trusted, they're atheists, and I trusted their thinking generally. And they started going off at me that I need to, be more, learning about space because, aren't I afraid that aliens are coming because these space rocks or whatever are thought to be doing things that science can't explain or something. And I told them, okay, first off, there's never been evidence anywhere in any way, right, of extraterrestrial life. Yeah. And I'm not talking about ones that have spaceships. I'm talking about any.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean I don't think that there's a possibility. Of course I do. We're here, so there's evidence of at least one planet that can do it. So but to think that when I know this has to do with understanding axiology and value judging things. If I cannot, it's like the God concept. I try to tell people it's a non-starter for axiology. But I know that there's people that try to say if a God exists, but see, that's loading a bullshit. Well, if space fairies exist and their wing dust is actually what is rain, then none of that is fucking true.
Yeah, like you cannot base real world decisions on a hypothetical.
Right. So,
in
but
that
also,
sense,
he tries. The person also tried to say Occam's razor says that since all these are odd things, it has to be space aliens. And I'm like,
nope.
The world is very odd. Do you know that miniature meteorites seed clouds that end up in rain? Crazy, right? But that's fucking reality. Reality doesn't have to make sense to me.
Occam's razor, isn't that the one that says the simplest explanation must be the truest?
Right, but see, that person's thinking the simplest explanation is aliens, which we have no proof of, and advanced aliens, which we certainly have no proof of.
To me, the simplest explanation can't bring up more questions than answers.
True, and also simple to me would be to grasp, did you realize how old these are? They're 4.5 to 12 million years old. Or maybe it's billion. I can't. But
yeah,
get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. I'm saying, not only that. Oh, they're so different, except for the fact that they have yellow tails, and yellow tails relates to oxygen, which usually relates to a frozen substance melting, which is what comets fucking do.
Right.
So even though it may have a few odd attributes, anyways. It's so frustrating to me. And then they try to tell me that I'm stopped learning and I'm this. I just was like, if you attack me again and not the evidence, I will stop talking to you.
Yeah. Well, and what else? What other choice do you have? Because it's like now you've gone from actually making an argument to saying that I'm
the one not willing to learn. I'm the one
right.
rejecting the facts. I'm the one. But also to me was the fact that he was also doing global dignity attacks. You have stopped learning. You have forgotten how to learn. Let's just say this, Corey. Let's say that I don't want to learn anything about space, because here's the real truth. I fucking don't.
Right.
I think space to me. In fact, every time there's like a thing with the eclipse or anything, I'd stay inside. I could care less.
Right.
Oh, it's hard because I don't see any magic. So just seeing it do some odd thing, I'm like, oh yeah, science knows that, and whatever. It's just, for me personally, I'm just saying. So he is right. I could really give a fuck about space. And I certainly am not afraid of space aliens or any of that bullshit that people get. I feel like they're loaded because of movies and all this crap to then think. Anyways. So that's why I feel like it is important. This is an atheist. And I had to block them. Yeah. Because they're trying to tell me that space rocks are evidence of aliens. And I'm like, no. And a null hypothesis would be that's not true. And then you actually don't have enough to support that it is true. And then I'm like, this is science, dude.
Yeah, like you can't just insert an explanation that you want into anything that you don't understand.
Why
You
don't we
have to
just call
sit
it God? God
right,
turds.
exactly. You can say whatever you want if you're just going to insert the explanation you prefer. So
Yeah, so, but trying to help it, and I'm like, and you know me, I'm willing to help, but
yeah,
I said, quit attacking me.
right.
And just global dignity attacks. I'm not. I don't. No one who's going to be in my fucking inbox talking to me as a friend is going to be doing that shit and me be okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never done this to you. I even now, I'm not even saying you're wrong. I just said there's not evidence. What's
Right.
my opinion? There's not evidence of it.
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid? No, because it's just a rock. Why do I think that? That's what science says. Well, there's a few things that are odd. Oh, you're right. The whole universe has some odd things.
There's
but
some
doesn't
odd
make them
things.
fucking
I will
aliens.
agree with that. Yeah. There's some very odd things, but I don't know what causes them, and I'm not going to make up things in my head to be afraid of.
You know, we're going too fast. Maybe it hit a freaking pulsar and it shot a fucking energy out and not who I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, my point about that is the same thing I try to say is that I feel like it's the whole approach.
Right.
If you only taught history but not anarchism and socialism thinking, then you really haven't been taught history correctly.
Right.
And you could fall for someone saying it's benevolent.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, let's go to the blog.
Okay.
I think I beat that
horse. That horse is dead. All right. So we got deities and war and violence, or wars, gods and goddesses.
Right, which we're also in this blog going to talk a little bit about not just that, but also about war itself and violence. But so, and then the thing here says that there's a total of 204 war deities, and then there's only 38, in a sense, goddesses, and 146 are male gods. So it just shows right there, real quick, just a little assessment, who's generally the war deities.
It's usually the male gods.
It's the male gods. Right. Now we don't have to guess because Damien's done the work of actually counting them.
Right.
Anyways, so and then go ahead and read. It says many people think.
Okay, so yeah, many people think there has always been war, but that's not true. Some sources claim that most middle and upper Paleolithic societies were possibly fundamentally egalitarian and may have rarely or never engaged in organized violence between groups, i.e. war. Evidence of violent conflict appears to increase during the Mesolithic period from around 10,000 years ago onward. But generally, indications of agriculture are taken as marking the transition into the Neolithic.
Right, which is, see, this is why it's hard too. They talk about Mesolithic period, they mean probably of Europe, because certainly 10,000 years ago, it was already the Neolithic in the Middle East.
Right, right.
And then when they say Neolithic here, the transition, they're saying like 6, 7, 8,000, 1,000 years ago in Europe.
Right.
That's why to me, once again, like when you learn stuff and people say things, well, this is true. Well, that's true of Europe. That's not true of the Middle East, which has earlier dates.
Right, right.
So anyways, I'm just wanted to throw that out there, that even though that's just a quote I sort of try to get to help people understand, but I'm just telling you, even to me, I don't like how they fucking wrote that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Prevalence of cranial trauma in Eurasian Upper Paleolithic humans. This study characterizes patterns of cranial trauma prevalence in a large sample of Upper Paleolithic fossil specimens, 40,000 to 10,000 years ago. The sample comprised 234 individual crania specimens, representing 128 cranial bones, skeletal elements, from 101 Eurasian Upper Paleolithic sites. We use generalized linear mixed models to assess trauma prevalence in relation to age at death, sex, anatomical distribution, and between pre- and post-last glacial maximum samples while accounting for skeletal preservation. Models predicted a mean cranial trauma prevalence of 0.07 at the level of skeletal elements and of 0.26 at the level of specimens, each when 76 to 100% complete. Trauma prevalence.
Which just stops right there. So pretty low.
Right. Yeah. Not a huge number, right? Yeah.
So this goes back to me, one of the things like Steven Pinker, right?
Oh yeah.
Who likes to say that, the world is getting better and better,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever his fucking nonsense is. Well, it depends on where he starts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If he starts in the Upper Paleolithic, no, it fucking is not. Look at how little death and killing there is. No,
Right.
it is not. So I'm just making a comment. Actually, it's gotten fucking terrible. Do you realize since 5,000 years ago, right, and down, there has been somewhere in the world that has been at war. Never has the world been at 100% peace for
Right.
almost 5,000 years.
Wow.
And then back then they had, what was it, 0.7 to 0.26? Not even 1%.
Yeah. So not a terribly
Pinker,
violent.
I'm sorry.
Society. Yeah.
You're wrong.
Just another X against his ideas.
Well, because I feel like he's like the British Empire is the most benevolent of all evil empires.
Right. Yeah.
It's that kind. I feel like framing. It's framing because
Yeah.
you picked sometime, didn't you?
That's right.
Because I think he says, oh, it was state societies that brought down violence. State societies are after 5,000. They have nonstop fucking war. Are you fucking high?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as well versed as many people are, but there's many debunkings of Steven Pinker's attitudes, including like more recent history. He's wrong about. He's just understanding it. So
right, and like I said, I feel like it's framing, and maybe it's unintentional.
Sure,
I do think someone calling the British Empire the same phrase using the word benevolent to be simply framing that's bullshit.
Right.
I don't think it's accidental. I don't think that a smart historian accidentally says that something is beneficial when he know the fuck it was not.
It's almost like definitely indicative of like an attitude that he holds, right?
Yeah. Well, because I heard his theme too, right? So I don't think his theme is that he wants to make all empires. I think I want British people to be wonderful and us to have a shining, great history. You don't.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. Learn from it and make things better.
Yeah. How about, or like I said, how about focus on the ones that are actually good?
Yeah.
Or better. How about that?
Better. Yeah.
Right. Certainly there's been times that things happened that were better. Not say, oh, this shit time Hitler, he did do some science advancement.
Right.
Get out of here with your fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyways. So keep reading.
Yeah. So trauma prevalence increased with skeletal preservation. Across specimen and skeletal element data sets, trauma prevalence tended to be higher for males and was consistently higher in the old age group. We found no time-specific trauma prevalence patterns for the two sexes or age cohorts when comparing samples from before and after the last glacial maximum. Samples showed higher trauma prevalence in the vault than in the face, with vault remains being affected predominantly in males.
So pause for a second. And of course, that would mean that they obviously weren't raping and beating the shit out of women, right? Or like Donald Trump. Oh, domestic violence actually is not a crime. It is. And it sounds like even people in, 40,000 years ago knew that that's the case.
Right.
Because they didn't do it.
Yeah.
When going back to this thought that, because I feel like people think like Steven Pinker, I guess, violence is just a human nature. And now that we controlled it by states, everything is better.
Yeah, it's that Hobbesian view of the world of all against all and a brutal battle for survival.
Right, and what does the truth say?
It's not like that. Yeah.
No. First off, we already said it's only like 0.07,
right,
0.26, and also it's not against women. So when they think that men inherently rape, because I heard this, well, men have desire, so they rape out of just. Yeah, that's not what happened, dickhead.
Yeah, that's just not true.
you're trying to ad hoc justify your terrible fucking, values.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like I said, anarchists, we already know the truth. The truth is, the world's not always been this fucked. It's not human nature to be this fucked.
Yeah. It
And
actually just
before
doesn't have to
states,
be.
it wasn't like it was like you said, man, all against all. That's not true.
That's just not true.
So, just spreading my anarchist propaganda, I guess.
I guess.
I just grab shit out of science books and archaeology books or archaeology information or anthropology or cultural information. It just happens to support our thinking.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. It wasn't the great white state that fucking came and saved us all.
No, go figure, eh? Jeez. I guess cranial trauma prevalence in Upper Paleolithic humans falls within the variation described for Mesolithic and Neolithic samples. According to our current dataset, Upper Paleolithic males and females were exposed to slightly different injury risks and trauma distributions, potentially due to different activities or behaviors. Yet both sexes exhibit more trauma among the old. Environmental stressors associated with climatic changes of the last glacial maximum are not reflected in cranial trauma prevalence. To analyze trauma in incomplete skeletal remains, we propose generalized linear mixed models as an informative alternative to crude frequency calculations. It has been suggested that marked climatic and environmental fluctuations over the course of several millennia exposed anatomically modern humans to climate change-induced stresses, which prompted biocultural adaptations of survival strategies regarding subsistence, technology, and social life, buffering against environmental stressors. Frequent marked climate oscillators and a gradual temperature decline changed vegetation and habitats of prey animals, the main subsistence source of Paleolithic hunter-gatherers, thus affecting habitat suitability. At around 26,500 to 19,000 years ago, climate deteriorations culminated in the last glacial maximum when ice sheets reached their maximum extent and covered most of northern and central Europe. As a consequence, human populations in northern latitudes may have gone extinct or retreated to environmentally more favorable regions in the southern glacial refugia. Local population extinctions, the fragmentation of reduction of suitable habitats, and limitations to maintain social networks likely entailed high levels of demographic and environmental stress. These scenarios of stress and adaptation mainly rest on archaeological evidence such as site distributions, animal bone assemblages, and material culture. Another line of evidence derives directly from human fossil remains. For example, a variety of dental and skeletal stress markers, dental hypoplasia, Harris lines, periostasis, arthritis, and trauma, indicates some support for health deterioration from pre-last glacial maximum to post-last glacial maximum populations. Human groups before and after the last glacial maximum differ markedly in their morphology in terms of body height, robusticity, and craniofacial and dental dimensions. These morphological features can result from changing levels of stress, but may also be associated with large-scale population turnover during recolonization after the last glacial maximum, as suggested by genetic evidence.
Right, and we've already talked a lot about how Europe did never stay pure.
Right.
Europe just kept getting stuff from the Middle East, from Siberia, from Asia. Yeah.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a pure white race.
Yeah. Oh my God, I seen someone draw a picture and said the only true whites were basically Scandinavia. And I was like, see, that's where white as a concept is so racist bullshit. Because like I said before, look at some of the Han Chinese or the Koreans. They're literally whiter than some white people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to just, but their eyes. Oh, wait, I thought it was about the skin.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. What?
So now you have to add in other characteristics so that you can leave people out of it.
Which shows it's racist.
That's right.
I'm just making a comment. It just because also like if someone has one drop of black blood, then they're not really white.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, once again, it's not about the skin. Yeah. It's just about racism.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, yeah. Fuck Racism is fucking stupid.
It is.
Fucking stupid. Let's go to the next picture. Speaking of people breaking the rules,
Okay.
this next picture is, they say, of a wounded person. They say a man, but I mean, it
Right.
could be. Done in red ochre, but I stylized and made it colors to kind of give you more of a better perspective of what the art, I think, is showing.
Okay.
And so I think the bird-like thing is his spirit or whatever leaving his fucking body, or almost like a Valkyrie is coming to retrieve his spirit.
Okay.
And I think that this shows either a sacrifice, which I don't think so, or it is a person who violated a taboo. And this is showing what happens when you do that. Then we all kill you. So, anyway, but it's showing afterlife beliefs also, because it's already shamanism. This is 27,000 years ago.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Okay.
So, and then go ahead and read. It says the wounded figure. This is from a link, but go ahead.
Okay. It says the wounded man figure has been pierced by several spears. It is not certain what this is meant to represent. Most likely, the ritual killing of a wrongdoer from the tribe. Maybe one who violated a taboo, or, less likely, the result of a fight between neighboring tribes. Projectile weapon injuries in the Riparo Tagliente burial in Veneto, Italy, provide early evidence of late Upper Paleolithic intergroup conflict. Evidence of interpersonal violence in the Paleolithic is rare, but can shed light on the presence of ancient conflict in the prehistoric hunter-gatherer societies. Projectile injuries suggest confrontations between groups and have primarily been identified through lithic elements embedded in bones. Recently, the study of projectile impacts has allowed for the recognition of projectile injuries in the absence of embedded elements. We report here the study of one of the earliest evidence of projectile impact marks in the human paleobiological record found in the burial from Riparo Tagliente, individual Tagliente 1, Veneto, Italy. Directly dated to circa 17,000 to 15,500 years ago. Analyses through SEM and 3D microscopy demonstrate that the femur and tibia showed clear evidence of projectile impact marks impacting the bone from different directions. This could be due to the presence of multiple attackers or to the victim turning between impacts. No trace of healing is present. One projectile impact marks is close to the femoral artery, which can cause a rapid death if pierced. Evidence at Riparo Tagliente could be attributed to conflict between different groups of hunter-gatherers expanding in the newly opened alpine territories during climatic amelioration after the last glacial maximum.
Right, because that's about the time that more people were coming again from the Middle East into areas of Europe, like R1b DNA. Gets to Italy, I know, by 14,000 something, but iDNA had left before that and got there like 27 to maybe 18 or whatever. It got there at a younger time.
Okay.
Or maybe it was multiple of, or, you know. But I'm just saying, so there definitely is some new people coming in, new DNA. JDNA comes in by 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So the J1 to the Baltic. But so I'm just making a comment that when people come in and they have different ideas and stuff, and they come into other people's areas, you know,
there could be conflict.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we don't need to read all of this because there's more stuff, but people can read it in the book or in the blog. I mean, but the point I'm trying to hammer home is it is not accurate to say that the history of our world is violence and war. It just isn't.
Right.
Or to say that rape and hurting of women and domestic violence is a natural thing. It fucking is not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Not only should you not do it, it's not natural. So this next picture, This has to do with what could be sort of a race war. People from the
Okay.
Middle East going down into Africa and killing people.
Ah. Okay.
And this shows a whole bunch of arrows. So it was massive overkill. This wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's 13,000 years ago. Go ahead and read what it says.
It says Jebel Sahaba, a 13,000-year-old cemetery in Sudan, provides evidence of the earliest known instances of warfare among human groups. Located on the east bank of the Nile, the site contains the remains of 61 individuals, many of whom bear signs of violent trauma, including wounds from projectiles like arrows. These findings suggest a long-lasting, possibly climate change-driven conflict among these early hunter-gatherers. While the new paper states that although it is not the oldest case of interpersonal violence in the Nile Valley, that's a partial male skeleton from roughly 20,000 years ago from Wadi Kubania. The Jebel Sahaba cemetery is one of the most emblematic and widely cited examples of early widespread violence. The researchers also note that with radiocarbon dates ranging from 13,400 to 18,200 years old, the cemetery is the earliest funerary complex from the Nile Valley.
Right. We don't need to read the rest of it. But it just gives more information to explain it. But this should help you just understand the when violence happened.
Oh, yeah. So they think funerary rituals were also involved, at least in some cases. For example, while a team could identify cut marks resulting from projectiles penetrating bone, they couldn't say for certain if some cuts may have been deliberate acts taken after death, as some sort of mortuary treatments.
Right. Or ritual violence.
Right.
Like overkill. You're already dead, but I'm gonna rip your heart out too.
Right.
Anyways, so just saying. So we know when violence happened. It's not like we have to wait for Steven Pinker to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the climatic changes they were talking about too do cause violence. In fact, if you look at the climate event as a whole, all the different times it got cold or there's a big swing in the thing were actually big swings in culture and violence. These things did have, you can see. So once again, we should care about climate change because even historically, it shows that it ends up when you talk about scarcity or whatever, it shows that when people have hard things, then they start hurting and violence and
Yep.
And also I have the opinion to me. I know people who are in capitalist fantasy and want to believe that being socialist or anarchist is the fantasy. You do realize capitalism wants unending growth. And we have a limited of resources. What happens when all the diamonds are gone? What happens when all the oil is gone? What happens when most of the fucking clean water is gone?
Well, and that's the thing too, is because capitalism also thrives on like the scarcity of resources, right?
Yeah.
So then that scarcity, like we're seeing from potential scarcity in climate events, like resources being diminished increases the violence between people.
Right. Well, we know that as anarchists. How do you have the safest society? They're the ones with the most resources.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because guess what? Here's the crazy thing. When we have almost all our needs met, we don't generally just do tons of wanton fucking violence on each other.
Yeah. And I think we can see that through like modern sociological evidence as well, is that people who are in need will sometimes have to carry out violence in order to fulfill those needs.
And sometimes we're justified. Just like I was talking to this guy, he was like, "How could you be a socialist anarchist? Socialism takes the state." And I said, "Wrong. Capitalism takes the state. Who's going to protect your capitalist wealth if all of us just come and take it?"
Yeah, that's right. It's the state.
And
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you're for stealing." And I said, "How do we fight back when a society allows us to starve to death simply because of greed.
Yeah.
Are we not?
It's not theft anymore.
What's more ethical, to steal from people that are letting us die?
It's not the. I don't even think of it as theft anymore. Like,
well, but I don't have a problem thinking of it as theft. But what's more ethical, letting me die or theft?
Right.
I mean, I'm just showing axiologically. You're making a stupid argument.
Yeah,
It's
it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Elon Musk should be a trillionaire, and government should protect him from us getting some of that so that we can eat. Fuck off.
Yeah, and it also really buys into like the framing of like the way the state and capitalist propaganda wants you to think he got his wealth through some virtuous action, when actually he like stole it essentially.
Well, and I already told you my thought always to people is it doesn't even matter. It may not be your fault that you are rich, but it is your fault for staying rich and not helping. Oh, it is your fault.
Yeah.
So, fuck you.
Yeah, that's right.
As a socialist anarchist, I want to remove hierarchy power imbalances. That includes the rich.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I say tax the rich. What would I really like to do? Eliminate the rich. And I don't mean like some people that to kill them. You already know I don't support that.
Just go take their stuff.
Yeah, I did say that, right? Yes. Now that I did say. Damien absolutely said, if you are starving, go fucking steal.
That's right. Yeah.
Because guess what? It's actually more right. Are you kids starving? Oh, definitely steal.
That's right. Yeah. If you're feeding your children, yeah, absolutely steal.
But I feel like, and this goes back to but what is stealing from a free earth?
Yeah, well, that's just it.
Capitalism has made it so we can't even live free. Just like my wife is losing her job. We're going to move to Texas. I'm already thinking about what plants I can eat just so I don't have to spend as much money on food.
Right.
We have cactus. I love cactus apples and cactus leaves. I eat them. If I and they said as long as you don't pull them off on one plant and kill a fucker, and don't go crazy like you think you're farming for free.
Right.
But take your needs, you can. I said that's all I was going to do anyways. And then for fishing, right? But you have to buy a fishing license. I said fishing off the shore to me. I understand boats and you're doing commercial fishing off the shore, fishing with pier to me should be free.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even need a fucking license unless you're doing something abusive. But then that's because you're doing abusive, not because you can't get free fish.
That's right.
To me.
Yeah.
I'm just, but you don't have a free earth.
No.
But it was free, right?
Yep.
It is really the hoarding. That's why people, they think, oh, well, all a capitalist does is just sell things. No, they took away our free earth.
Yep.
Then you ask why I need to steal. They took away our free earth.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
with their concept of private property,
everything is owned.
Yeah.
That nothing is for us. Where's the commons for us?
That's right.
Just to me, like I've said before, I don't think there should be any government building anywhere that doesn't have all kinds of free fruit and things that people can have. And some person goes, well, what if it rots? I'm sorry. Do you not cut the grass now?
Right. Oh,
so you can't cut things that people eat, but you can cut things that don't? I mean, their arguments are just garbage. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's amazing the maniacal thing that they build just to support greed.
Yeah. No, it's like it takes maintenance. You gotta actually pay attention to it, like the same way you'd pay attention to the lawn or the yard or the park or the golf course. Like, come on.
Yeah. But also, it's the belief that people won't go and get free food.
Right.
Right.
Well, but
how is there so much fruit to drop? I'm gonna go get some fucking free fruit. Are you kidding me? The fuck are you talking about?
That's right.
Like I said, even if I'm not right, even if I'm not like on the streets and have nothing, I still am gonna have not very much money to barely getting by. So if I can eat free food and then supplement having to spend money on that, and then I can spend it on medical or whatever other insane shit you got to spend on in America because nothing is fucking free.
Yeah. No, for
I don't
sure. Of course, like if you happen to be out and you can get a free apple,
Right.
and instead of having to go spend $10 at a convenience store, why wouldn't you go and get the free apple?
Right. Well, but they would say, well, you're stealing from that person's right to that ownership of land. Look, I said to go for you before. I'm cool. They think that I want to take away people's private property. No, I just don't want you to have 15 fucking houses and everyone else is on the streets. No,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah.
No. Anyways, but just because to make a point about violence and stuff, like I'm not pro violence, but I'm also not pro fucking the violence of you doing things that allows me to die, like monetizing the fucking world.
Yeah, which to me is another form of violence.
Right? It is. Anyways, so agriculture developments around 11,000 years ago, and that's also the time it kind of starts slavery. Slavery and power. Can you read that? Slavery and power are connected.
Okay, slavery and power are connected and predate written records and have existed in many cultures. Slavery is rare among hunter-gatherer populations because it requires economic surpluses and a substantial population density. Slavery became widespread only with the invention of agriculture during the Neolithic Revolution around about 11,000 years ago. Slavery was practiced in almost every ancient civilization.
And just think of how you can use civilization and slavery in the same word.
It's wild, eh?
Right? No. Not to me. Not as an anarchist, hell, but civilization. That makes it sound like it's something good and beneficial. How the fuck is it that if it's slavery? No.
Yeah, no.
And then Macehead and the rise of power.
So Maceheads and the rise of power. Archaeological evidence available so far has revealed that the earliest Maceheads first appeared in the Near East about 10,000 years ago.
Along with actually about almost 12,500 or something. But
along with the early development and spread of agriculture. After that, Maceheads began to spread throughout the ancient world, southward to the ancient Egypt kingdom in North Africa, northwest to Europe, and then to the Eurasian steppe of Central Asia and Siberia. Eventually, this movement gradually arrived in the northwest region of China. The earliest Macehead examples come from the Near East during the PPNA period. An early example is the stone Macehead from the site of Halan Semi in Turkey, dated to 9,500 to 8,500 BCE, or 11,500 to 10,500 years ago. Another contemporary example is the stone Macehead from Kortik Tepe.
Right, which to me, this is the most important towards paganism. Most ideas of Korkitepe become almost all the original, I feel, or expressed relate back to that point. What that was like the origin.
Okay. Which is a pre-pottery Neolithic A site in Turkey. In Mesopotamia, the earliest Maceheads can also be traced back to around this time, or equivalent to the PPNA, 8,300 to 6,000 BCE, or 10,300 to 8,000 years ago. They are mostly ball-shaped or pear-shaped. Human violence is rooted in the rivalry that stems from imitation, and archaeologists working at the Neolithic sites of Çatalhöyük and Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, at both sites there is evidence of religious practices that center on wild animals, often large and dangerous in form. Is it possible that these wild animals were ritually killed in the ways suggested by Gerardian theorists? Were violence and sacred intimately entwined? And were these processes that made possible and even stimulated the origins of farming in the ancient Near East? Offering a perspective from Göbekli Tepe and related sites, our team contributed a paper by Lee Clare, Oliver Dietrich, Julia Gresky, Jens Notroff, Joris Peters, Nada Polath on ritual practices and conflict mitigation at early Neolithic Kortik Tepe and Göbekli Tepe, Upper Mesopotamia. The cognitive principles on the social brain have remained unaltered since their appearance in anatomically modern humans in Africa some 200,000 years ago. However, by the early Holocene, these capacities were being challenged by outcomes of newly emerging lifeways, commonly referred to as Neolithic. Growing levels of sedentism and new and expanding social networks were prompting a unique series of behavior and cultural responses. In recent years, research at the early Neolithic PPNA occupation site of Kortik Tempe has provided evidence for heightened levels of interpersonal violence and homicide. Yet at the same time, there are no indications in the present archaeological record for between group fighting, warfare. In this study, we investigate whether this scenario, at a time when we might expect to see a rise in intercommunity frictions in the wake of adjusting subsistence strategies and socio-political boundaries, can be at least partially explained by René Girard's mimetic theory. To this end, we consult the pictorial repertoire from the contemporaneous and extraordinary site of Göbekli Tepe. And then from 100,000 years ago, Holocene glacial retreat, the present Holocene or post-glacial period begins.
10,000, not 100,000.
Oh, 10,000 years. Yeah. 10,000.
It's just showing that other one was 11,000. By 10,000, there's a new stuff. The post-glacial begins. And then the next picture just shows different mace heads and the dates and where they were found, and then what they were doing in relation to, the stuff. Like you can see the Varna culture it's like a king or something.
Right.
And then by Egypt, 5,100, he's using it to smash a metal spike in someone's head.
Yeah.
And then you see at 4,470 in Iraq, which is their empire that took over Samaria, he's literally showing them beating people to death or something.
Yeah, it looks like. Yeah.
Right. And then at the Hatti, which is 3,720 to 3,620, that person is standing on people's necks or head.
Right.
Anyway. So it just shows that this is this kind of concept and violence. And like I told you, it is possible at Kortik Tepe that I wasn't sure if the power thing came from originally like a drum, boom, boom, like the shaman, male, because at a certain point after 12,000, 11,000 especially, the herding cult men become more powerful in the Middle East. So I thought maybe it relates to the male turning to shaman, because now he's like, used to be the women are the religion and the men are the chieftain power of the clan, and then at some point men take over and become the everything, in a sense. Both in a sense, like Pharaoh, both the king and the spiritual leader.
Right.
So to me, I think that so I'm not sure if it could have been used or something like that, because it starts ceremonial, but then eventually becomes absolutely cracking heads. Not just ceremonial. So it's killing people or harming them, at least.
Somebody along the way decided, hey, I can hit somebody with this. Yeah,
it became not just a threat or a sign of power, but an actual violence, which I think it maybe emerged 8,500 years ago or so. Okay. But anyway, so the next picture is about a massacre in Kenya, where the people, had crushes and all kinds of stuff. Go ahead and read it. 10,000 years ago, culture, turf war, massacre, Kenya.
Yeah, 10,000 years old culture, turf war, massacre in Kenya. Tiny obsidian bladelets found embedded in the skull of one of the skeletons and in the thorax of another show the victims were stabbed or shot with arrows in the attack. Some small clues imply that the attackers were not local rivals, as obsidian is not available in the area. The prehistoric tribe of men, pregnant women, and children were bound and battered by invading rivals.
See, pause for a second. See, so that's the first time we really have women, in a sense, just like at the other one in Africa, women being killed. Before, it's more, like it said, men, right? And it was older men, so it's probably because they've been through few battles or whatever. So, but my point is, so here's starting to see a change. So It's not always been this way. It wasn't always that women, were getting banged over the head by cavemen. That's just,
it's a myth. Yeah, it's a myth. Yeah,
it's a myth. Anyway, so the next picture, also at 10,000 in Spain, and it shows a battle of people fighting with bow and arrows.
Oh yeah,
and I think one of them might be supposed to be a woman or represented,
Okay.
because it looks like it may have a breast and no one else has that.
Right.
So I don't know. But anyways, it still shows conflict and violence. And also, if you notice too, they're not static as is just standing there straight-legged and shooting it. They're literally lunging their bodies at each other.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely an action shot, right?
It's an action shot. And then there's, it looks like a whole bunch of people in the middle. One might be laying down dead. I don't know.
It's hard.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's hard to know exactly, but yeah.
I'm just trying to show you the violence, what we know.
Yeah.
And then so the next thing, when the real jump in violence, is the earliest evidence of sling stones.
Ah.
That's my art of that.
Okay.
So go ahead and read it.
Earliest evidence of war in southern Levant / Israel. The collections found at En Esur and En Zippori, but also at 2 other sites, are the earliest evidence of formal sling stones in the southern Levant. Israeli archaeologists find earliest evidence of war in southern Levant. Industrial production of aerodynamically efficient sling stones almost 8,000 years ago in what is today's Israel wasn't done to hunt animals. Almost 8,000 years ago, people in the Galilee and Sharon plain were preparing for war. This postulation is based on the mass production of shaped sling stones at 4 sites in Israel, starting in the late Pottery Neolithic. Though who they were attacking or defending against and why the production of these stone bullets ceased after about 1,000 years is anybody's guess. The current thinking is they were fighting against other local peoples, not invading hordes. That would come later.
Right. That would come more like 7,000 years ago.
The oldest representation of a slinger in art may be in Çatalhöyük from 9,000 years ago, though it is the only such depiction at the site, despite numerous depictions of archers. Modified stones suggested to represent ammunition for slings or sling stones have been reported from the Near East at least as early as the 6th millennium BCE, 8,000 to 7,000 years ago, during the Pottery Neolithic, from cultures such as the Wadi Rabba culture in the southern Levant. The oldest known...
Right. So hold on a second. Yep. So the one from Çatalhöyük that's 9,000 years ago, the slinger is actually probably throwing it at birds and not at people. So it's not a demonstration of war. It may have been a hunting thing, especially for birds. So, and of course, people need to understand, I'm not saying they're eating the birds. They may have been doing it for the feathers. Like Native Americans, where they take feathers and they eat certain kinds.
Yep.
So if they want certain kind of feathers or whatever, they have sling stones to hit the birds. It's what it looks like is happening at Çatalhöyük I'm talking about. Now, the other ones obviously are about violence. I'm just trying to show once again, even though like the mace head, I think from Korkatepe could relate to a drum, or it could have related to a tool that they use to kill a sturgeon if they're fishing or something, or a big salmon or whatever. So it could have been but that also would mean that that's like a clan mentality, that they own part of the river. Thus, they own the resources of the river, like fish.
Okay.
And so then it would be a sense of power, because this is what kills the fish, and this can only be used by the power leader in a sense.
Okay.
Right. Just trying to explain the concepts just because they're using them. So then violence, starts as it gets younger, not as it gets older, but as it gets younger, more violence.
Right.
Go ahead. And the oldest surviving slings.
Yeah. So the oldest known surviving slings, radiocarbon dated to 2,500 BCE or 4,500 years ago, were recovered from South American archaeological sites on the coast of Peru. The oldest known surviving North American sling, radiocarbon dated to 1,200 BCE or 3,200 years ago, was recovered from Lovelock Cave, Nevada. One of the oldest slings in the Near East is the Manchester sling from the 12th dynasty of ancient Egypt, 2000 to 1800 BCE, or 4,000 to 3,800 years ago, a completely preserved sling constructed entirely of plant fiber.
Right, and then, as we know, 7,000 years ago, it got worse. But it actually starts probably 8,500 years ago with the first fortifications in Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this next picture is showing as the movements of people and violence and ideas and fortifications. Fortifications are 8,500 in Siberia, and Europe gets them by 7,000.
Okay.
And then, of course, new violence and kurgans and dolmens and everything else starts moving around.
Right.
With that idea and pottery. Because, of course, people don't just take one thing. They bring their brain with them and all kinds of technology.
Yeah.
So, but I think the warrior cult mentality literally comes from Siberia.
Okay.
And then it's spread all over. Like you see it go 7,000. It's in Europe. Yeah. It's in Europe taking over. So anyways, which we've talked about before, my thoughts on Kurgan origins and migrations linked to our DNA. So, and I think that the Kurgan origins are found in stratified ritual mounds.
Okay.
And we're not going to read all of that, but just to just give you a thing. Then the next picture kind of is that shows the same thing, but a little bit simpler without arrows and stuff that I made. But this was the one that science, not my version. But then also they are showing the hunter-gatherer pottery. You see how the pottery swings right into the area of the first, fortifications are in red, and that darker sort of yellow, whatever.
Okay.
Those hunter-gatherer pottery.
Yep. Okay.
And you see it 7,500 years ago, and then by 7,000 years ago, which is 5,000, BCE, that lighter yellow is you see it spread to Scandinavia, spread to Finland.
Right.
It's moving down to Ukraine, Moscow. It moved. So that is my other picture showed. It's moving from Lake Baikal.
Right.
Those ideas. Anyways, which you already talked about, this has to do with war and violence. I'm just showing you that there's no guessing of war and violence. It's not a human thing. It's a cultural thing.
Right.
That people then adapted to or took as their own and started doing the same warrior cult bullshit. Anyway, so we're going to skip down to the stuff that talks about, because there's all kinds of stuff that talks about what happened and everything. The 8,000. This is not about focusing on that.
Right.
I'm just trying to get you to understand the basic thing of what happened. So then we'll just go down to the let's see, the next picture instead of doing all that reading.
Okay.
Well, I mean, people can read this stuff. Obviously, it's good
for sure.
But I just want to hit the highlights, the cliff notes.
Yeah. Here we go.
Right. So next picture is about the time between 7,000 and 5,000. This is when people talk about when the shit really got bad, this is when it got bad. This is when gender before 7,000 in Europe, probably 5 genders. Gender after 5,000, only 2.
Right.
Which is the same coarse crap we're fighting against now.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did that get better? Because now they used to be totally cool with trans people and intersex and different, non-binary. And then now we have this shit.
Yeah.
What's even funnier is they call this shit traditional. I'm like,
right.
It's not. Traditional to when? You don't mean the beginning of religion, because that's horseshit. If you go back to animism, which I know we've talked about before, animism believes everyone's two-spirited.
Right.
Yeah, because they have a mother and a father, right? So they have 2 spirits. One's male, one's female. They do not believe people are not two-spirited. Anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you actually think about that, that makes more sense than the Christian version. Anyway. But so this thing right here, everywhere there's a little skull on the map. That's what this thing is. Those little skulls are incidents of mass killing or genocide or something. Mass killings. So you see, and then I put dates by them, most of them. And then where it doesn't have a date by them, the color And then I've listed 7,000 years ago Germany, 6,200 Croatia, 5,700 Ukraine, 5,000 Poland, 5,000, 4,000 China. Anyways, so this shows different places and shows them in context. Like, and also to me, the grass highway, the steppe allowed ideas to go from China over to Europe in a sense, and the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
To make these ideas didn't stay like static. Anyways, so violence is a certain point. So then there's right here, read this where it says 7,000 to 5,000 years ago, because of violence, genetics dropped.
7,000 to 5,000 years ago, across Africa, Asia, Europe, genetic diversity of male Y DNA collapsed to around 1 man for every 17 women, and the likely cause of this was fighting between patrilineal clans. 7,000 to 5,000 years ago, because of genetic violence, genetics dropped to 1 man for every 17 women. An abrupt population bottleneck specific to human males has been inferred across several Old World Africa, Europe, Asia populations 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. Previous studies also show trauma marks present on skulls clearly indicate the fighters used axes, clubs, and arrows to kill each other. Scientists from Stanford used mathematical models and computer simulations in which men fought and died, allowing them to test their theory on the Neolithic Y chromosome bottleneck. According to genetic patterns, researchers found the decline was only noticed in men, particularly on the Y chromosome, which is passed on from father to son. The war was so severe that it caused the male population to plummet to extremely low levels, reaching an astonishing 1/20th of its original level. This results in the loss of Y chromosomes as they slowly deteriorate over time and eventually may get wiped out from the genome. Once upon a time, 4,000 to 8,000 years after humanity invented agriculture, something very strange happened to human reproduction. Across the globe, for every 17 women who were reproducing, passing on genes that are still around today, only 1 man did the same. Another member of the research team, a biological anthropologist, hypothesizes that somehow only a few men accumulated lots of wealth and power, leaving nothing for others. These men could then pass their wealth on to their sons, perpetuating this pattern of elitist reproductive success. Then, as more thousands of years passed, the numbers of men reproducing compared to women rose again. In more recent history, as a global average, about 4 or 5 women reproduced for every 1 man. Violence in the ancient Middle East spiked with formation of states and empires, battered skulls reveal. Systemic warfare appears to have been a direct consequence of the sedentism as it developed in the wake of the Neolithic Revolution. An important example is the massacre of Talheim Death Pit near Heilbronn, Germany, dated right on the cusp of the beginning European Neolithic at 5,500 BCE or 7,000 years ago. Investigation of the Neolithic skeletons found in the Talheim Death Pit in Germany suggests that prehistoric men from neighboring tribes were prepared to brutally fight and kill each other in order to capture and secure women. Researchers discovered that there were women among the immigrant skeletons, but within the local group of skeletons there were only men and children. They concluded that the absence of women among the local skeletons meant that they were regarded as somehow special. Thus they were spared execution and captured instead. Many of the capture of women may have indeed been the primary motive for the fierce conflict of the men. Other speculations about the reasons for violence among linear pottery culture settlements in Neolithic Europe include vengeance, conflicts over land and resources, and kidnapping of slaves. Some of these theories related to the lack of resources are supported by the discovery that various fortifications bordering indigenously inhabited areas appear to have not been in use for very long. A mass burial site at Schletz was also fortified, which serves as evidence of violent conflict among tribes and means that these fortifications were built as a form of defense against aggressors. The massacre of Schletz occurred at the same time as the massacre of Talheim and several other massacres. More than 200 Neolithic people were killed during the massacre in the linear pottery settlement area of Schlitz 7,000 years ago. More recently, a similar site was discovered.
Right, but hold on a second.
Oh.
So, and also people understand that this was not like indigenous people were attacking the farmers. It was that farmers and their greed attacked each other and stole land and resources. Yeah, fucked up. So I'm just making a comment. This is not like, well, back when they first tried to colonize, they were, what was the beneficial? No. Or no, beneficent or
Benevolent.
Yeah. The farmers were benevolent because they didn't actually kill, Corey, as many people as the later people from the steppe.
Right.
They only genocided 30%. Then the later people, they did 50. So they're worse than us. We were the most benevolent of all the genocidal colonists.
Yeah.
You get how fucked up that sounds. Because I was like, and I know most anarchists hear that and go,
Yeah, no, that's right. As soon as you start being like, oh, the British colony or colonization was benevolent, the British Empire was benevolent, you go, nope. I'm sure all the people who got killed will see that differently.
Yeah, I think we can stop listening now because wow, the horse shit's fucking pouring out.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways, which, like I said, I don't want to do. I want to really tell the truth, and so that people are informed. It's just the truth is on our side.
Yeah, yeah. You want me to keep going on this?
Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Okay. I think it was at more recently a similar site was discovered at Schoneck, Killanstedten, with the remains of the victims showing a pattern of intentional mutilation. While the presence of such massacre sites in the context of early Neolithic Europe is undisputed, diverging definitions of warfare proper, i.e. planned campaigns sanctioned by society as opposed to spontaneous massacres, has led to scholarly debate on the existence of warfare in the narrow sense prior to the development of city-states in 20th century archaeology. In the summary of Heath 2017, accumulating archaeology has made it increasingly harder to argue for the absence of organized warfare in Neolithic Europe. Bioarchaeologists have found from the skeletal remains of more than 2,300 early farmers from 180 sites in Northwest Europe between 8,000 and 4,000 years ago that more than 1 in 10 suffered weapon injuries. During the period of expansion of hunter-gatherer groups.
Pause for a second.
Oh,
so right. So the great farmers who supposedly were bringing this new colonization technology to the hunter-gatherer primitives were murdering thugs.
Right.
Not you weren't even safe being one of the murdering thugs. They'll also kill you. Yeah, but colonizers did that too. They colonized the British Empire did not just kill non-British citizens.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Hello. Talk about Britain should be proud. You know what? Even if we believe that nonsense and thought we can't trust any of the non-Britons, there's a lot of British people that have history that talk about how fucking brutal the British Empire was to British people.
Yeah.
Anyways, it feels like it should go without saying. I mean, I thought we all agreed that's like Nazis. I thought we all agreed Nazis were bad. Even conservatives, right? The right people generally used to say Nazis were bad.
Yeah.
It was like everybody kind of agreed to reality.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Nazis are good. Like, what?
Yeah. I kind of sometimes feel like it wasn't always, they didn't really believe that Nazis were bad. They just kind of had to say it because the rest of us believed it. So,
maybe. But you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's gotten crazier, not better.
Yeah.
I mean, people take advice from Graham Hancock. on history stuff. This is what's so funny. Graham Hancock has never proved a fucking thing. Archaeologists have.
Right.
And yet, he wants you to believe that him, never proving anything, is the one to listen to over the people who have proved things.
Yeah. Yeah.
The world is like upside fucking down to me. I mean, that's I know some people think that like I have some love for archaeologists. I have love for scientists. You know why? They tell us the fucking truth generally. Not saying they're all perfect or they all do good things. They're better than Graham Hancock.
Right. Yeah, like it's not that all scientists are perfect people. It's that the scientific method has shown us a certain amount of evidence, like, and reliability on knowing what's real and what isn't.
Yeah. And so if you're against science, then I also feel like that's why going back to that I hate when people try to frame anarchism as non-reality. I think it's the most reality. You imagine, take away all your beliefs in a party or anything, or even labels, right?
Yeah.
Is it ethical to hurt others?
Right.
Who should deserve hurt innocently over another person? Innocent.
Nobody. Yeah.
Right. So this to me, so that's what I mean about my anarchist lens. I strip it back and remind you what the real truth is.
Right.
Because see, if you don't agree with that, you're an immoral person.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care what fucking label, right, left, you fucking want to throw your fucking dart. If you don't agree with that, that is a reality position.
Yeah.
Just like that, it is not right to make others fucking suffer, especially just for your greed. Holy fuck. Because it's like bad and even worse.
Right.
Right. Which also I feel like is a value judgment. If people don't learn how to see, I know I focus on that being an axiologist about the very, or try to pay attention to more fine-tuned understanding of value.
Right.
Instead of just generalizing like we like to do all the fucking time. It's trying to slow down and really look at what are we looking at. Yeah. And that's why I feel like our anarchist lens, I just go, okay, what's the real truth? Because everybody, could be pushing a thing.
Yeah.
But I look at what's the real truth. And that's why I said too, it's not that I believe archaeologists. I looked myself, studied for fucking years, all kinds of shit. Even stuff that archaeologists don't talk about. And you know what I found out? The archaeologists, they're right. And I used their understanding then to build a better understanding in general.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I believed them all. I went and looked. In fact, I didn't read their books. I went and looked at the actual articles or the actual stuff as much as possible because I didn't want to be influenced by their stuff. And guess what? I came to their similar conclusions.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I told you I really can't stand Graham Hancock. Or people would say, well, maybe he's right. And the archaeologists are wrong. I know they're not wrong.
Yeah.
I looked for my fucking self.
Yeah, because you can, if you're a person who is willing to spend the time learning what these things mean and what there is there, then you can see
it's hard.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's why it's a specialty for people, right? That's why most of us don't do it. But
right. And I'm an autodidact polymath, which is not very common either.
Right.
I'm self-taught and can understand just humongous variety of topics and concepts or whatever.
Right.
So, but it never was me trying to be better. I'm a kind of a lazy. I like to just get high and sit in the jacuzzi. I mean, I'm not a person who wants to take on the world. And no, that's people. If anyone thinks that, they're just wrong. The reason I do so much in activism is because I realize if I'm going to care about the world in a real way, then it should be exhibited in my behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, if I care, if I say I want the world to be better, a lot of people say this shit. Oh, I want the world better. They'll do zero practically to have that happen. Yeah. Even, this is the first thing they should do, everyone, is get on the place of reality. What's real? And we would say, and then understanding once you're in the real, because it's not just that like atheists like to stick to, because they use logic just for one thing: no gods. They don't do logic like no capitalism or no hierarchy. Like hierarchy is not good. It just is not.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, I always laugh at people that will just strongly defend democracy and yet support hierarchy. You do realize that's trying to remove hierarchy. That's what democracy should be doing. That's also why I feel like no government wants democracy to be direct democracy, which would be the truest and best form of it.
Right.
It all should be. Even we should be voting on so much shit ourselves, period, not waiting for whoever the fuck to. Certainly wouldn't wait for people like Donald Trump recently. They're saying that domestic violence shouldn't be criminal.
Unbelievable, eh?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
But isn't he supposedly someone who, I think his first wife, he pulled her hair out or something, or some of her hair out, and got and raped her.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm sure he doesn't believe in marital rape.
Right. Yeah.
Which
I'm almost certain he doesn't. But
right. But it goes back like I say, if an anarchist perspective starts with the individual owns themselves. That does not change because they will say, I want to partner up with you.
No, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not, in fact.
You do not own someone just because they are your partner. And in fact, that's kind of what the term partner means, right?
But even if they think marriage, you don't really, I know they want it that way, especially on the right and religious thugs.
Yeah.
But to me, like going back to the thing, but it's just so amazing how so many of these atheists are on the right. Like, what the fuck? How can you all day long talk about truth matters or reality matters or science matters, and then also not go, yeah, Einstein was a socialist, and so was Bernard Russell, was he not? Yeah. So was the person that you like, Martin Luther King, right? Yeah. Oh, all these people.
Yeah.
But capitalism is true. So I mean, so these people were great thinkers to you, the best, and yet they come up with this same thing that Damien also says. But like I said, just look at this. Was it better when we all kind of just got along and didn't have leaders, or was it better when 12,000 years ago we got leaders and fucking oppression started?
Right.
Slavery starts.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. You're not going to bullshit me that the hierarchy made it better. It didn't. Yeah. That's when the shit started.
Yeah. It always makes me think years and years ago, there was a guy in the atheist community, C.J. Werleman, and he wrote a book that was titled "Atheists Can't Be Republicans If Truth and Facts Matter." and he got shit on by a lot of atheists, and it started me down the path of not really being as firmly entrenched in atheism as I was.
Well, to me, I haven't changed. I have been the absolute same, which is that I do it all.
Right.
It's probably to my detriment, but I do it all. I write poetry. I talk about kindness. I brutalize religion, but also am very fair, and unbigoted about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they situationally use their logic, which they claim is what religious people do. And that it's exactly what religious people do. It's not the apple fell from the tree. It's the same fucking tree.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does that work then? Hey?
And just like I told you, what part of anarchism that people own themselves do people have a problem with?
Right.
I mean, certainly not human rights, right? So certainly morality would agree with us. So I'm just saying that anarchism, right?
Yeah.
So morality would agree that anarchism is true. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, it's always a moral thing. I'm like, that's why I ask people like, would you ever not be an anarchist? Morality concludes that people should own themselves. That's anarchism.
How would that even be possible?
So, I'm just saying. So I was like, I told you, people are like, oh, you're a fantasy. I'm literally saying the moral fucking truth.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of, that's the thing. Like, as long as you start from that basis, there's lots of other things that you can say, oh, well, that belief is not great, or this belief is not great.
You value judge.
Yeah. Like, but in general, like, that's the core of it, right? Like,
well,
how
you can't get away from that. It only sounds simple, but it's a web.
Yeah.
Because if you own yourself, can you do drugs, Corey? Yes. If you own yourself, do you have the right to die? Do you not own yourself? Do you own yourself? Can you do prostitution? Do you not own yourself? Do you own yourself? Can you get abortion? Do you not own yourself?
Yeah, that's right. It's lots of stuff comes off of that. Yeah.
Do I have the right to freedom? Do I not own myself? Because freedom means that I can move where I want in a sense. There's other things too, but I'm just saying it is. Yep. It certainly is not. I have freedom when I'm locked up.
Right.
Especially against my will. That's not fucking freedom.
Which is where we end up with like your natural extensions of being like anti-border and anti-nationalism and and all the extensions.
That is the better decision.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's all branched off of that core point that we own ourselves.
And it's not. Yeah. So you're correct. But I'll just state it a little bit easier for some people. So I own myself. And once I grasp this, and Corey is also just another me, Corey owns himself.
Yeah.
If Corey owns himself, I can't hurt him because he owns the right to not be hurt.
Yeah.
Which is what people call human rights. But actually, human rights, unless it's a deity giving them to you, is coming from the concept that we own ourselves, which is an anarchist concept that all of us are owning ourselves, and you shouldn't be telling me what the fuck to do.
Yeah, that's right.
So now, and also that it's not even just that. It is psychologically not healthy to be in hierarchy, especially if you're, of course, not on the top.
Right.
It just isn't. So that's science that shows that hierarchy is actually detrimental to a equal humanity.
Right.
So since morality, most people would say requires an equal humanity, guess what? You can't have hierarchy.
That's right.
And be morally clear.
Yeah.
And I know this, like I said, to me, it's my anarchism. I know I don't do like the some people do. Not that it shouldn't have all kinds of reasons, but my reason as an axiologist is the moral life. I do not see how I could be anything other than I am. There's no need for me to change. I already get it. Only thing I guess I would change is to try to be more compassionate, more understanding, because once again, knowing reality, isn't that better?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be better?
Yeah.
Imagine a world where we all cared for each other, then no one would be lacking care. I mean, how does that not sound correct?
Yeah.
It is. It just is. I'm just saying anyways. But so the deities, I feel, are just an extension of, especially war and stuff, were not the original deal. The deities were not war. In fact, some of them, remember, were about justice and shit.
Right.
This is a long place from that.
No kidding.
So the next picture is about people in France getting their hands or whatever cut off or something. Severed arms. So these are people that are being hacked apart or tortured.
Mm-hmm.
See, they severed left arms and hands.
Wow.
See, religious torture or whatever. Then you go to the Iana and Ishtar.
Yep.
And this goddess is love and sex. Sounds great, right? And war. Whoa, wait, what?
Right.
Political power. Oh, see, come on now. Since when do gods care about the big guy?
Right.
Isn't it just imagine, like I said, the anarchist lens, how gross is it that a god would worship the Elon Musks of the world, but not care about Corey?
Right.
Really? That's a god you want to fucking follow? Or even think that he's the good. In fact, he's the best. You realize those are like axiological qualifications of things.
Right.
You can't just say like torturing children is good. You just can't say that, because that is not the classification
right.
of what good would be.
That's not how that works.
Because good has to relate in a sense, to other words, like well-being and beneficial,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
Benevolent, words like that. Yeah, those words have to mean fucking something. You can't say it's more benevolent to rape Corey than to kill him.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say?
That.
What?
You can't say that.
You get what I mean? And if you say that, what is that, Corey? Is that truth telling against the activists that want to make it sound bad? Or is it me coming up with fucking propaganda?
Hold on. Both of those are bad. And one,
Right.
why are we trying to, yeah.
Why are we framing it this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
How about
clearly
no harm? How
right.
about Corey owns himself and has the right to not be raped or threatened or fucking harmed?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
and so that's the world I want to live in.
Yep.
And put people over profits, and this greed is like a sick addiction, because they like they say, there's how many billionaires, but how to that ratio, how many billions of people are starving or in poverty?
Yeah.
Is it right that someone can't even afford pencils to go to school? Fucking no, come on. This is so that Elon Musk can have another fucking 100 houses or whatever the fuck. I mean,
yeah. So that he can just increase his net worth by X billion of dollars. Like, yeah.
Is that an ethical society? No, it isn't.
Nope.
No. That's what I'm saying about the right wing, atheists to say they're about truth and everything's logic. What am I saying here that's not logical?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking gross. I don't know. But just because, just like you and me both learned, just because someone says I'm an atheist, I thought that meant I believe in truth and justice, and it doesn't mean that to you.
No, it just means the one thing, I guess.
Yeah, well, I told you before. I don't do it now because also my life, I've had lots of ups and downs, so sometimes I'm not as happy. But I used to post a lot of stuff of cats and flowers and stuff because it's also my personality. But the atheists would attack me and say, guys, and tell me that stop posting that. Just post the stuff that against religion. And I'm like, this is my page. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the fuck to do. But also to me, like, as that doesn't have value. That's why to me is funny. Is the purpose of war to fight and win so you can say you hurt someone or won? Or is the purpose of war peace?
Right. Some people would say that it's peace, but
you get what I'm trying to say. And morality-wise, which would hold the more value?
Yeah.
To do things to desire peace, or to do things so that you can glorify yourself as a warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, yeah. You're not going to hear no support for this shit to me.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the next picture. And so this is showing people sticking people in the nose, which is a form of torture. Also with the concept of thumbing your nose, or the racist thing that the outline of someone's nose makes them a Roman nose or an eagle-like or whatever. All this fucking bigotry. But the first figure is as the red hoop in his hand. Those strings are to their nose.
Okay.
And then the other one shows the ones in the nose and poking a guy in his eye. Because, torture is fun for the state. And then breaking someone's nose is a sign of disrespect.
Mm.
Also, remember, in a sense, animism thinking is that the soul, sometimes people think, comes through the nose, like,
Oh yeah.
or it has to have either nose or the mouth, and if you close the mouth, and then it's going to come the nose. So that I'm just saying that the reason, if you mouth is closed, you can't breathe, and if you cut off your nose, you die. In a sense. So but anyways, I'm just saying. And so they also had a hand to nose gesture, and the ones at the bottom, or hand to face. Anyways, but of course it probably somewhat relates to the freaking torture of people through the nose, which is fucked up shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, and people can read about that.
Okay.
We don't need it. The next picture also shows a similar thing where the bird is hooking a person by the nose.
Yeah.
And I think it relates to the Siberian deity, who is the big Kalua, or whatever it is, the crow, or sometimes also maybe an eagle or another bird. Anyways, we're going to go down to the next picture, which is the myths and folklore of trickster, gods and goddesses.
Okay.
And there's all these different ones in a sense, but they're all sort of doing similar type of things. There's that Siberian Kutka, I guess.
Kutka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm just showing you that, like, religion, sometimes those people go, oh, it's such different deities. I'm like, well, they have some similar categories often.
Right.
It only seems different. If you really start paying attention to some of the things, unlike saying that because the rocks in space have attributes that are bizarre, that it must be aliens attacking. Once again, about logic. No, we're supposed to take nice little rational steps, not, act like it's a faith journey and we just step out off the cliff,
Right. Yeah.
So then the next picture is about low gods and Tular deities, which we talked about before.
Yep.
Tulare deities are ones that, in a sense, are protectors, sometimes protective of an area. Like someone to say Jerusalem is a holy city, right? They're fighting over it.
Right.
That's, in a sense, a Tulare concept of the land, right? Because the land's magical to them, correct?
Right.
I mean, it's not just a place.
No,
it's a magical place.
Yeah, they use the word holy, right? But that's what they mean.
Right. Why is that place different than the trash can down the yard? You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah, because it's got a magical connection to your God.
Right. So you get what I'm trying to say is,
for sure,
there's something going on. Is it, you're not just saying, oh, well, because you've always lived here, or even, or whatever.
No, that's right.
Which I told you. My opinion about like Israel and Palestine issues, I know it's different than some leftists. I think that the Jews have a right to North Israel only.
Right.
And I think the entire southern part should be all Palestinian. That also would match, in a sense, the maps of what Jews owned when it was their biggest kingdom. And also matches with when the people from Saudi Arabia went over and caliphates and stuff into Palestine. Right. So the fact is that, to me, when the Palestine not only needs to have their Gaza back, that to me everything, in other words, like you could almost say right at, because I know they all care. So cut it in half. Both gets half of Jerusalem, all north, but all south should be all Palestinian to me.
Right.
I'm just, anyways, but like I told you before, I think it's absolutely bullshit to torture people on, I don't remember, it was the 7th of whatever. It happened when the Palestinian terrorists, raped and killed people at the festival and all that. I don't remember the date.
Anyways, it was October 7th.
I totally am against that. I'm against fucking killing people, especially people that are not fucking engaged in war. If they would have attacked every fucking IDF and killed them all, I wouldn't have a fucking problem. You killed fucking innocent people. No, non-combatants. No. It's not right. It's just never right. But I 100% also agree. The IDF are murderous fucking thugs, and fucking they have no right to fucking be doing what they're doing. Another country right now should invade Israel, take that motherfucker over, and goddamn put him in the fucking Hague. Because what they've done, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's right.
so.
It's pretty clearly horrendous, like ongoing genocide right now of innocent people in the name of attacking Hamas, which is you can debate the ethics of you can say I don't agree with Hamas. You can do that. A normal person can do that. But why do we have to constantly have to harp on that when innocent people are being slaughtered by Israel and starved by Israel on a daily basis? It's
right, because it's once again, Israel. It was wrong. Someone attacked non-combatants that are Israel.
Yeah, and
it is also fucking wrong, dickheads, for you to attack non-combatants. It just is.
Yeah, that's right. And it's wrong to bomb places in the name that there might be combatants there.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
total bullshit. Blowing up all those fucking buildings. That's war crimes to me. Every one of those.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. Well, there's tunnels.
So
war crime.
Yeah, I don't care if there's tunnels or not, unless you absolutely only killed the guy that you're aiming at. I do not care. I will not say it's
totally
okay.
agree. I totally agree. And yeah. So that's my feeling about that. Anyways.
Yeah.
But I really think the real answer though is actually no states anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to lean that way.
But I do think that also, even with no states, people will live places. Yep. And I don't think that you should just go and colonize their fucking areas either.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah, just if somebody lives somewhere, you don't get to just go in and take it and say it's yours, right?
No, absolutely not. But like I said, if you have 150 houses, I absolutely think that you deserve one.
Yeah, that's right. You can have one. Absolutely.
Pick
which one you want to keep.
You own fucking the entire block. I'm done with that.
And corporations are not people.
No, they're
so
not.
They do not get to own houses.
No, I totally agree. Well, I think, to me, I feel that we really should nothing. Like you talked about company store before, and I told you my thing is that I know I'm weird, but my thing is kind of like I do think some of that is good. I think there should be a free store where you get clothes or you can get food to a certain amount. Because I'm not saying that that you can have 100 fucking t-shirts,
right?
Because you're taking from other people in need.
Yeah.
So I have no. Anyways, but I think there should be a place of free food. There should be a place for free housing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Free housing. That should be a given to me. All these free, like I said, free clothes, free food, free. In other words, all your basic needs to me should be free.
Yeah.
And that should be a goal of a civilized, good society. I know that word is stupid, so I won't use it anymore. But
of good society, a good
right. An ethical, axiologically ethical society, that would just be the truth.
Yeah.
Who the fuck does not deserve to eat? Who deserves not to have clothes? Now, I told you my other thinking is though that I do think that people have the right to make different stuff, and so everyone can get free. But there's also going to be different stuff. And so I talk about in my concept that people have the right to, in a sense, own themselves and own what they're doing. You don't have the right to exploit people. See, that's the difference to me. But you do have the right to make things and create. But I don't think that it should be like this society where nothing the fuck is free or damn close to it.
Yeah.
Right. In this capitalist only world, you're limited to. I don't get my basic needs met just for being a human.
That's right.
I actually don't have dignity or rights. and then I have to sell myself for less than is even dignified. Because and you're like, what's dignified? Can I fulfill my basic needs? Because that would be dignified.
Yeah.
If I can't do that, it's not dignified.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what's basic? A place to live, food, clothing, shelter,
Yep.
all that. Yeah, well-being, because that's psychological being. So I have the right to have kids or whatever, or a pet, and have enough money to support them too. So I need money.
That's right.
And I don't think that our world is fucking just. It shouldn't be like this. And all these deities, like I said, imagine deities that support war, especially unprovoked war. Really?
Yeah.
For conquest and power, right? Because that's what empires are.
Right.
But I also hate that, like how, not just him, but how a lot of historians, too many, not saying all, because there's a lot of good historians, but that too many people, maybe not even realizing it, just glorify empires.
Yeah.
Oh, look at their extension was so big. Do you realize how gross that sounds? Seriously.
Right.
This is a people who forced their oppression on this many people, is what you're really saying. And wow, wasn't that great that they tortured and hurt people and stole their resources? This is just so great. And I just find that so fucking gross.
Yeah.
Hideous.
Yeah.
And so the same thing, like some people will really like war deities. Oh, this deity's so great because he killed people. Is that what makes something great? No.
Nope.
Right? So I feel like in general, people don't want to really understand that it's not just that all this God and stuff is fake, that even if it was true, it doesn't have attributes that are good.
Yeah. Right now, like so many people have been like, I see this a lot, even with me and Pam, when we're going to watch TV, like she refuses to watch anything where people are killing each other. And I get it. Absolutely. I understand that. But to me, because it's been part of my watching, my propagandization,
Right.
that I don't even think twice about it. And I think that that's something that we experience on like this major societal level, where like the glorification of war, the glorification of
totally.
killing, right? Like it's just this thing that we think is like, if you kill a lot of the bad guys, then you're a good guy, right? Yeah. And it's so, it's awful, really.
Well, and I personally feel that too many, to me, leftists talk about literally actually murdering everybody. I don't put me in the group that believes in that shit.
Yeah.
No, I want the better society. You know what the better society does? We don't kill like them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean, I told you before, that doesn't mean I don't think that people should be kept from harming others or have any consequences. Of absolutely, that we should have a society that does care.
Yeah.
But that doesn't equal prisons like we have now.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or slave labor. I'm sorry. You not only lock someone up, you then justify their slave labor?
Right.
Working for America to me is already slave labor with the $7 bullshit an hour.
Right.
But certainly 24 cents or whatever it is in prison or whatever, in anything under the minimum wage is just fucking slavery. Yeah. It's fucking no. I told you, to me, is our goal punishment or rehabilitation? And also, when we're doing that concept, which do you think produces a safer society? Rehabilitation or punishment? Right. And so, to me, it's going back to logic again. How do you logically and morality-wise and socially not grasp? It's really better to make people have a better well-being, so when they come in the public, they're better for all of us.
Yeah, that's right. Like when the punishment ends, even if you're going to frame it as a punishment and not a rehabilitation, when the punishment ends, are you going to put this person in a position where they can now be part of society, or are you fine with them committing crimes again? in order to
Well,
survive.
and what's gross too to me is they punish you more than once, because you're
Right.
already punished because you had to serve time, 10 years. You come out, and then now you're not allowed to get jobs and do things because I
can't
thought that
rent
you
a
already served
home.
your time. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
you
that's
can't vote,
right.
or like that's what?
Yeah. So your debt to society never ends based
Right.
on an action that you did at whatever time.
Well, if you're gonna say that action better have been you fucking raped and murdered children, because then
It-
I do think that you shouldn't
if
be
it
let
never-
out
yeah.
because you raped and murdered children.
Right. Yeah. If your punishment is perpetual for your entire life, then
But
so be
but
it.
I'm just saying, for
Right.
most reasonable things, no.
No, it's
No,
not.
it should not be like that.
No.
You should not lose your human dignity because you made a mistake, even if it was a willful one.
Yep.
What the fuck? Yeah, okay, so isn't that what the 10 years was supposed to fucking fix?
And the way that America and Canada and I think even the UK are set up, like it's even another level where like things that shouldn't even be crimes, or things that are like like smoking weed, or like
Right.
minor possession of narcotics are criminal. So then you go to jail for that. It's not even really a crime. Like it doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, well, I do think that cartels do hurt people.
Cartels do, yeah.
I don't. Well, I'm just saying. I don't. So I don't think that. This goes back to capitalism, right? I don't think there's like a totally ethical capitalism.
Right.
I also don't think there's totally harmless drugs.
It's
Because it doesn't even matter if you're talking about cartels. Do you really believe that the opioid industry are not some criminal fucks that deserve to be
essentially that's a cartel as well, right?
Well, you get what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying about anarchists. I think that we don't worship things. That also means we're not offended by putting down things that have power.
Yep. That's right.
Right. And so I am definitely for people having the right to do drugs. I don't think that somehow there's ethical drugs in a sense, and especially in our society. And that's doesn't mean I'm an anarchist. I don't want this society. It doesn't mean I don't think we can't create a society where it's not like that.
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, I think that with a lot of the drugs, it's the decriminalization that ends up being a step in the direction away from that exploitative system.
I totally agree. I already told you anyways. My opinion is that drugs should be legal. If you're an adult, you have the right to do things that hurt yourself.
Yep.
Hold on. Don't you own yourself? Well, we got rule. Remember, the first rule of Fight Club is do you own your fucking self? Or Anarchist Club, right? The first rule of Anarchist Club is do you fucking own yourself? All questions always go back to number one.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Does this relate to me owning my fucking self?
Well, how about that, eh?
Yeah. Oh, I don't have human rights. Oh, that violates principle number one. I fucking own myself.
Yep.
Yeah, but like I said too, we also understand, and then everyone else does too.
Right.
And that should change how I approach other people or think about what to do. And certainly not supporting fucking war deities.
Yeah, that's right.
The war deities are just versions of the other deities that used to not be about war.
Right.
Like I said, could you imagine if you had invented it all at the same time? Right.
Right.
Could you imagine that you would mix the war deity with the deity of love and sex? And you're like,
right. Yeah. Like if you're just laying out, these are what the various gods do, you would never put love and war in the same god.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. And that's why some of the pagans, where they had different ones, the different attitudes, the god of war was a totally different thing than other stuff, that would certainly make more logical sense than to go,
right.
Or not to realize this has to have been added.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think this deity started this way. I think someone added that, because I don't know how the fuck you get the deity of love. And also, how is the deity of love also the deity of political power?
Right.
You support political power. That's anti-humanity. What just think, those who support Elon Musk over the people are traitors.
It's like you said, like it had to have been added later. Like you had a god of love, and then later on, somebody with political power is like, also this god likes me being in power. So then slowly becomes a part of it.
Right. So, but that's also, but also, like I told you, it's really about states. Even they said, right, it really is not until city states, which is 6,000 years ago, city states that the real, because you know why? Somebody said, I'm the fucking king of this little city.
Yeah.
Hierarchy was the invention of violence and war, not our savior. Yeah. What did Stephen Pinker? Ever since state level societies, everything got better. You do realize that it was the invention of state societies that brought us this new wonderful thing called fucking war.
Yeah.
Empires.
And
fucking torture.
Yeah.
On a mass scale, mass genocide. Like, for this, what?
Yeah. Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Americans are like, oh, that's not true. America's always been great. And like, you realize you're colonizers, settlers on native land that you not only took by force, you lied, you cheated, and you didn't hold up your treaties because you're not legal and ethical as you like to think you are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if the most generous, they, at least, if nothing else, are fucking pieces of garbage for breaking all their treaties, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
Well, I mean, come on. They're like, oh, there's been the rule of law. That's what made America great. I'm like, what fucking fantasy land is this person in?
Those are the same people. Those are the same people who, like, they romanticize the West or the Wild West when it was lawless, essentially, and there was every little fiefdom was its own little kind of militarized zone.
And they literally slaughtered and killed indigenous.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And also, I think it's funny when they say, well, you know, those people also attacked you. They attack you when you enter their area without asking and disrespect them. I don't know, start building fucking homes.
Yeah. Yeah. And even then, a lot of times I think like it was more of a retaliation in many cases, right?
Oh, I absolutely think so. Yeah, oh, yes. Well, yeah, I totally think that most of the experience was in the natives. Well, just like, you know, the first out in the West you're talking about.
Yeah.
So Lewis and Clark was actually the first expedition that actually killed the first native in the West, in a sense, from an American perspective. Because, of course, the French and, you know, the Spanish were already doing that.
Yeah.
And the English, maybe. Or was it the English, I think, on the other side. But it doesn't matter. So my point is, they're the first ones. And that's another thing, too, is they always say Lewis and Clark because they you know, fantasize that or propagandize American history, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember exact number. It was a fucking little army, and they're all like soldiers and shit.
Yeah.
So all these fucking, not two freaking dudes and just enjoying life and meeting natives and what the fucking, oh my God. They literally whipped people, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly when, but there was some point when I think 7 of them or something. I can't remember now. But I think they tried to get away or something, and he fucking had them lashed. Yeah, because these are fucking military pieces of garbage. And you fantasize these two dudes with just their guns and their will to, you know, blaze a new American future, you know. It's, oh God.
No, pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. So anyway, so what are you doing now?
I'm doing Loose Wires on every second Tuesday. We talk news and current events from a anarchist communist perspective, and then I've got some pretty good interviews coming up here. The host of Everyday Anarchism podcast, the author Cory Doctorow is going to be coming on my show. And the local person who represents the Canadian Policy Center for Policy Alternatives is going to be coming on the show. So I've got some really good interviews coming up. Eventually, I'm going to record my review of the operating system. So I've got a lot of things on the go these days. Just trying to keep plugging away at the content creation grind, I guess.
Right on. Well, that's good. Everyone should go check him out and give him support on his Patreon. And anyways, that's it for the video. Don't have tons of stuff on the war because not like my favorite subject, but I think we addressed it good from the beginning and all that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, we maybe only kind of touched on the gods a little bit, but it's war is war, and it's like I say, it's not my favorite
because we
subject
touched on it. That's true. I didn't list all the gods of war, but that's not why I wrote this.
Right. Yeah.
Because once again, I'm not glorifying the gods of war.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good thing, and that was what I'm trying to explain. Is once we understand what's good, that's not it.
Yeah, that's right.
And also just think, like the Nordic, right? So the gods of war, right? They only allow the warriors to go to Valhalla or heaven. But even heaven doesn't sound that great. They're like, oh, it's great. You get to drink and then you get to fight a war again. I'm like, shouldn't it be peace?
Yeah, that's your warrior culture there.
Right.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the value be that war ends? Not that. So, okay, what I can hope for is I'll die in war, go to somewhere that's a fantasy land, but let's say that we take it as, okay, maybe it could be true. You go to this place and you get drunk and then you wait and then you're going to fight again. Like
perpetually.
More fucking fighting?
Yeah, it's perpetual war. That's
right.
It.
I mean, it just shows. And then, non-warriors don't go to Valhalla.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, so it's already, well, that's one of the things that some people try to say, which I don't know if it's true or not, but some people try to say that the reason the Christianity was so easy to spread around the Nordic is because they think that, the Nordic people felt like only warriors are going to go to heaven. And now Christians saying we all can go to heaven. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know how accurate that is because I study more prehistory, not really super into history stuff.
I'm not, if I was going to believe in something, I would definitely choose the heaven that didn't mean I needed to fight in wars to go and do it.
Right. It's not go up there and 52 virgins. It's go up there and fight another war.
Right.
Really? How is that heaven exactly?
It seems like just another place like Earth. Like, why do I want to go there?
Right. And so I'm just saying that it just shows what kind of that's not good values. That's anyways. But I feel like on our culture, really, it's all about those bad values.
Yeah.
And we wonder, like, oh, how does Nazism take over? Let me tell you, it starts with capitalism.
Yeah.
And then capitalists see too much of the people getting rights and stuff, realize they all start working together and to take us over.
Yeah.
Or they simply out of greed realize, I just want more. And so then fascism is how you do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
anyway. It's not good.
So like I said, this wasn't the video if you wanted to learn about every fucking war deity. This was me basically critiquing the concept of war deities.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, I think, probably more valuable.
Right. Right. Because I want to show that if we really care, then we can't care for them. For sure.
Yeah.
So anyways, take care.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer researcher at Damien at AtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, agnosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion.